जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, talks between Narada and King Prachina Barhi. Shloka number 64. Nanubhutam kvachanena dehe nadrishtama ashrutam kadachit upalabhyeta yadrupam yadrigatmani. Nanubhutam kvachanena dehena drishtam ashrutam kadachit upalabhyeta yadrupam yadrigatmani. Nanubhutam kvachanena dehena drishtam ashrutam kadachit upalabhyeta yadrupam yadrigatmani nanubhutam kachanena drishtamashrutam kadachit yadrupam yadrigatmani
नानुभूतं क्वचानेन देहेना दृष्टमश्रुतं कदाचित् उपलभ्येत यद्रूपं यादृगात्मनि नानुभूतं क्वचानेन दृष्टमश्रुतं कदाचित् उपलभ्येत यद्रूपं यादृगात्मनि नानुभूतं क्वचानेन देहेन दृष्टमश्रुतं कदाचित् उपलभ्येत यद्रूपं यादृगात्मनि
nanubhutam kachanena dehena drishtamashrutam kadachit upalabhyeta yadrupam yadrigatmani. Okay, word meaning. Na, never. Anubhutam, experienced. Kva, at any time. Cha, also. Anena dehena, by this body. Adrishtam, never seen. Ashrutam, never heard. Kadachit, sometimes. Upalabhyeta, may be experienced. Yat, which. Rupam, form. Yadrik, whatever kind. Atmani, in the mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes we suddenly experience something that was never experienced in the present body by sight or hearing. Sometimes we see such things suddenly in dreams. Purport. In dreams we sometimes see things that we have never experienced in the present body. Sometimes in dreams we think that we are flying in the sky, although we have no experience of flying. This means that once in a previous life, either as a demigod or astronaut, we flew in the sky. The impression is there in the stockpile of the mind, and it suddenly expresses itself. It is like fermentation taking place in the depths of water, which sometimes manifests itself in bubbles on the water's surface. Sometimes we dream of coming to a place where we have never known or experienced in this lifetime. But this is proof that in a past life we experienced this. The impression is kept within the mind and sometimes become manifest either in the dream or in thought. The conclusion is that the mind is the storehouse of various thoughts and experiences undergone during our past lives. Thus, there is a chain of continuation from one life to another, from previous lives to this life, and from this life to the future lives. This is also sometimes proved by saying that a man is a born poet, a born scientist, or a born devotee. If, like Maharaj Ambrish, we think of Krishna constantly in this life, Savai Manah Krishna Padaravindayoh, we will certainly be transferred to the kingdom of God at the time of death. Even if our attempts to be Krishna conscious is not complete, our Krishna consciousness will continue in the next life. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 6:41. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvathi samaha suchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brishto bijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. If we rigidly follow the principles of meditation on Krishna, there is no doubt that in our next life we will be transferred to Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be seeing this continuation of this whole section where it is talked about. The question is about how a living entity is going to the next life and then suffering or enjoying the pious credits or their sins or something like that. So when the body which has performed that karma has already gone, so how come the things are carried to the next life? So the argument that was given is the subtle body that carries, and there is a lot of proofs of existence of the subtle body is there, and how the living entity is constantly being controlled, or constantly being enwrapped, by the subtle body, and the subtle body carries the living entity to the next body. And then I think in the previous shlokas we saw this. When I was preparing, I saw that in the previous shloka there is this aspect of what is there in the mind is reflected in the body. So there are two ways of training. So we will go into today's section in a short while. So this I was thinking in the brahmacharya training we should include that there is two ways of training. One is we are cultivating our consciousness. We are cultivating our mind and in terms of meditating on the Lord. So that's the internal, from inside out training. There is another training which is also training the external. Sometimes we see that in the electronics also we do this thing. Now when you give current, so then the motor actually runs. But when you create rotation in the motion in the motor, so then the current actually gets produced. The reverse also works actually. So this one is the etiquettes that we actually follow is when we in the purified state of existence. We don't need to say that if you see a devotee you have to offer obeisances, if you have to behave in this way, in that way, and things like that. So when we become mature in Krishna consciousness, when we start going deeper into our Krishna consciousness, automatically our externals will settle. Externals will settle to the right kind of this one. So but still as a principle, we are living with devotees, so we have to follow certain external etiquettes also, even though it is not natural. So just in Prabhupada's time, I think who is that devotee who told to Prabhupada, everybody were offering obeisances and he was not offering. And when Prabhupada asked, no, why are you not offering? I am not feeling to do so. So then Prabhupada told no, you offer obeisances, your feeling will come later. Something like that. Who was that? Any idea? Giriraj Maharaj? Huh? So ऐसा, no, somebody like that. Sarsuru Maharaj, okay. Somebody like that. So it is, in this way, the externals also matters. By the way of external, this one, like we can actually cultivate the internals. No, it can impact the internals. And one thing, we have been doing so many different kind of gestures, or what do we call? Sometimes they call us idiosyncrasies, no? Like something, some kind of an actions, that is we have probably picked up from some films, some kind of this one, some style or something like that, like so those things may be there in the system, which is not very appropriate for Krishna consciousness. So now sometimes it may have gone very deep into our system. We may not even know that this is something wrong. No, this is a wrong gesture. So we should not be doing this gesture. Like so, especially with our hands and legs and with our body. So when we are doing certain gestures, like we have to be very careful that is it appropriate in Krishna consciousness, not to do like this. So these kind of things are very essential. So with our body, we should offer obeisances, and how should we offer obeisances, that is there. And with our hands and legs, how we should actually perform devotional service, how we should mostly if you see sometimes this one when I was there in Pune sometime, so that time one person had come, who was a yoga instructor or somebody like that, and he had come to our morning program. And he was supposed to give some this one for brahmachari class. They had called him for giving some gyan on yoga and things like that. I mean, for maintenance of health. And he has seen our devotees chanting, chanting the Shinmay kaise chant karte. And he was going crazy, what all actions devotees do, and ye thodi meditation hota hai. So meditation matlab you should fix your bodily parts as much as possible, and then you should focus on this one. And our devotees both expressions dikhate hai, and things like that. But anyway, we didn't subscribe to that. But this aspect of we should see that unnecessarily, if there is any bodily movements and things like that is there, so that needs to be cut down. So that needs to be cut down. So that may not be a very good this one. Because it is a reflection of the mind. There is some disturbance in the mind, and that gets reflected in the form of bodily activities. So this is something like when in terms of how we use our body in the service of the Lord. So in that, we will describe about these particular aspects in detail. So now we will go into today's session. Now it is mentioned that sometimes we suddenly experience something that was never experienced in the present body by sight or hearing. Sometimes we see such things suddenly in dreams. So here here it is mentioned about what is the thing that is coming in the dreams. So it is very clearly mentioned that if we are imagining that we are flying in the sky, so we must have experienced it in the past lives. We must have some kind of an impression in the from the past life that either we have been a demigod or an astronaut and we flew in the sky. So that is the impression that is there. And here, mind as an object is mentioned. It is just like a stockpile of so many things. So now, initially when I was taught, we were groomed in a what is that, software company, that is where our Krishna consciousness started. So there the example was given, the mind is like a hard disk. So, and then intelligence is like the this one, what is that, RAM, so which actually processes the current, this one, so like that, aisa bataya gaya tha. So mind is like a hard disk, like unlimited hard disk. Now it is like it can have so much of data after data after data, sometimes we wonder, social media, the whole goal of social media is how many posts people can put. And sometimes people wonder kitna social media is, what is the social media, kitna bhar sakta hai andar. So itna bhare ja raha hai, it is not getting over. And mind is, one mind of one person is more bigger than all social media put together. Such amount of data is there, and such amount of, it is new trend that images have been posted, So, but mind has, it's an old trend for the mind. Mind has always been capturing images everywhere. उसके नीचे कुछ post लिखा रहता है. So it has been capturing and posting like since time immemorial. And then now if we go to the YouTube, there is some this one's coming up, right? Like some suggestions coming up. And we don't know, like there is no choice, like of what will be the videos that will be suggested to you. So like, but there is some logic behind it. You don't have a choice. You cannot have an idea of what is going to come. But there is a logic running behind. In the same way, we don't have a control of what thoughts come to us. But there is some logic running behind. The three modes of nature and the Lord's agents. They are there, and they actually trigger these different thoughts. That is means the kind of impressions based on the impressions that are there from the past. These are triggered. We call it as the fetch logic. So which data gets fetched? There is a logic for that. So the fetch logic, we don't know the fetch logic, but something gets fetched and something is shown up. So it is one way of analyzing this is okay. It's a very amazing subject. We can go in the depth and understand which thought and how it gets come to the surface and things like that. And another solution Prabhupada is giving is that better think of Krishna all the time. In any logic, if it is picked up, Krishna conscious data will come up. So if you are not able to do it in this lifetime, some lifetime you will get, at least even if the process doesn't go through well, you practice this concept of Krishna consciousness, being always engaged in Krishna's service or Krishna's thoughts. So then it will become very, very powerful that let the logic be anything. Any fuzzy logic, any crazy logic, anything that can be there underneath. So any random data it could be picked. It should be Krishna conscious data. That's an amazing this one. That's the solution. That the Acharya is giving. And on top of it, we are not dependent on the material logic. We are dependent on Krishna. If we have put a sincere endeavor, then Krishna will also be pleased. Arey, itna mehnat kiya, antakale cha maame smaran mukta kale, de denge isko, yaad dila denge, So like that. So it is very nice, this one, And also this one very important pastime, we have many, many times discussed this thing, that when book distributors ask, we are managing so much of logistics and books and then distribution and so much of management we are doing, and for the purpose of distributing your books, and in case if we happen to meet death when we are doing this logistical work, so what will happen to us? We will not be able to think of Krishna at that point in time. So then Prabhupada says, because you are engaged in the service of the Lord, Krishna will forcibly enter into your mind. So this is something very important, that we have to sincerely engage in the service of the Lord. When and that too is a very, very important aspect. I was just meditating on this particular aspect today morning in chanting, that there are so many ideas that come during chanting, and sometimes devotees also say that, see, it is very important, we are engaged in so many services, and then mind is engaged in that, and there is no harm in thinking about some service or some plan for service and things like that and all. So and then of course itna serious bhi nahi lena chahiye chanting ko, so it is things like that and all. So then we asked one question that came to my mind. I was just trying to argue against this point. So one question that came to my mind, see, पूरा दिन हमको इतना idea नहीं आता है, मतलब पूरा दिन, there is so much of time is there. So after chanting, if you sit for meditating on that particular idea, not even 2 minutes you will be able to think about that idea. All your options will get exhausted in that. But chanting के time पे 2 घंटा चलता है वो idea. ऐसा कर सकते हो, ऐसा कर सकते हो, ऐसा कर सकते हो करके. So what is the point? Why? If the idea has to come, so let it come later on. Let me give the whole day for this. Let me come up with something nice. Okay, so even for that sake, for that argument, we will take it saying that, okay, today's chanting, full 2 hours, I'll think about this only. Maybe tomorrow also I'll think about, day after tomorrow also I'll think about. And after that, will I ever give some time to Krishna? Will I ever give some time to think about Krishna? Or is it going to be whole lifetime, all other things are only important and Krishna is not important only? So it is very, this one, we can actually, people who have practiced for no good number of years can ask this question to the mind. Like you have been giving, like the argument is that this is a very nice idea that is coming, and you have to document it, or you have to work upon it and things like that. But an argument is, will I ever give time to Krishna? Will I ever give time to hear about Krishna? And we can ask the mind like, no, will you ever be satisfied? Like, no, you all through the week, no, you do this thing. No, I'll give you 6 chanting sessions for your your plan making. Will you give me 1 day in a week where I can think exclusively of Krishna? You cannot give, then what is the point, right? So it is a very important thing that we have to bring this argument that when will we give exclusive time to hear about Krishna? No, that's a very important point. And here Prabhupada also makes this point. He often quotes this thing, no, Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. So this is like the mind being engaged in meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. And then also the last point that Prabhupada makes here, if we rigidly follow the principles of meditation on Krishna, there is no doubt that in our next life we will be transferred to Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. So there is a professional etiquette also, like now when we are dealing with some particular issue, when we are in the working in the organization. So this was some kind of a professional etiquette that was followed. So when we are dealing in a particular issue, so we used to focus on that particular issue. And there is another issue that comes, like we used to generally the customer actually used to raise the issues and then we used to solve. And if there is another issue, we used to say to the customer that, no, you better raise another ticket for this. No, I'll not, I'll not look into this now, right? So this is a professional etiquette. Even in meetings, when I have seen in the this one, what is that, in our the management meetings that happens either in the youth preaching or in the temple president's meeting and things like that. So a particular issue has been discussed and a related issue is brought about. And they say like, no, the agenda doesn't deal with this. No, you create another agenda for this. And then like we see this scenario, this concept happens in many places. So this is how the professionally things are handled, right? So now I say that, no, I am thinking about my preaching services during chanting. So let us be professional also, right? No, here we have allocated time for chanting. Let's chant at this point in time. And while preaching also let's chant. No, but at least let's chant at this point in time. So it is exclusive time for meditation on the vibration of the holy names of the Lord is very, very essential. And again, I'll read this point. It's a very, very powerful point. If we rigidly follow the principles of meditation on Krishna, there is no doubt that in our next life, we will be transferred to Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. It's a very essential point, right? So our quality of absorption, our quality of remembrance of the Lord, it makes a lot of difference. So, and we have been thoroughly cheated by the material nature, all the time. And somehow other, like this shloka actually makes a lot of sense, that kamadinam katina katita palita durnideshas tesham jatamai na karuna na tripano pashanti. So like somehow we know that it is a cheating, and we know that the material nature, we have come to the purpose, we have come into ISKCON for the purpose of initially like different purposes we would have come. But later on, at least we settled ourselves saying that, no, we have to attain the goal of Krishna, like Krishna Prem and things like that. And the mind is thoroughly cheating us. And for this sake, like what we have done, so most of us here, like we have given up our career, we have given up our family life and things like that. And for this sake, for attaining the Lord. And the process in which to attain the Lord is to chant the names of the Lord and progress further in the process of meditation. And we also preach about this. We also preach about this, and the glory of this one is the Maya, Krishna's material energy. Like, of course, like glorification of Krishna should be done. So it's like Krishna's material energy is so powerful. It is thoroughly like cheating us, thoroughly cheating us, that the very purpose for which we have sacrificed everything, the very thing that we speak about and start selling about, the very thing it doesn't allow us to do. It's like a very, very, very pathetic situation actually. But the material nature is successful in in actually pacifying us also, saying that अरे इतना बुरा भी नहीं होला, no हुआ. Like देखो लोग बाहर no क्या क्या कर रहे हैं, आप तो like अच्छा है, like you are getting up early in the morning, no, you are doing so many things, like, and outside people you see, like when they hear our schedule, they say Prabhuji, like no, you are next to God only, all these things, like तो सब लोग मान रहे हैं, like ये बहुत बढ़िया चीज कर रहे हैं. But the internal thing should be, if this is our goal, to get some appreciation from people, we'll be satisfied at that point in time. Eventually, we'll be dissatisfied because we don't have Krishna and we don't have experience of Krishna. But at that point, life is about, it is a game of every moment actually. So in this moment, if I am satisfied with what I am, then I lost the game. In the next moment also, like Maya will come up with some argument where we will be satisfied कि हाँ तो like हम अच्छा ही कर रहे हैं और कुछ इतना बुरा है तो नहीं चल रहा है. So फिर भी like देखना चाहिए, कंपेयर करना चाहिए, like बाकी लोगों से like मैं कितना बेहतर हूँ, like so in that way like the mind actually gives arguments, and the mind's job is that we should not fix our mind on the goal. And even if we fix our mind on the goal, we should not develop anxiety to attain the goal. These are all the mind and the material nature's activities. That if this person fixed the mind on the goal and he becomes anxious to attain the goal, then Krishna will sanction. तो लाइक ये निकल जाएगा बंदा इधर से कैसा हो सकता है. एंड मटेरियल नेचर वर्क्स ओवर टाइम, so it actually gives options, saying that array like you have not explored this and you are not very bad, you are so good, and like life is so nice and it's going very good and things like that. It justifies our position, it justifies our position, and then it gives certificate that you are good, you are like, that is this one always, that that thing actually comes. So now as sadhaka, he has to be very careful in terms of two things that he has to do. I always mention this thing, that one, he has to get the anxiety, or he should feel bad about his position. Like if I am feeling completely good about my position, I cannot move towards the goal, right? So any successful businessman, you see that he makes a little bit of success and people go and tell that you have done very nice, you have done very nice, and he'll say immediately, if he's a man like who's going to progress further, he'll say like, no, I have not achieved my goal. Now I have to, this is the thing that I'm having in my mind. I have to become the number one millionaire or billionaire or trillion, whatever it is. Like, I don't understand these numbers, but like I want to become the richest of the person. Till then I'll not sleep. All you people may glorify whatever you want to do, like you do, but I want to attain that goal. So if the goal is clearly set, at least for us, at our level, like ultimate goal though it is there, attaining Krishna Prem. So this is also very nice from the education system we can understand. So ultimate goal is there of graduation and getting a job or something like that. But every class, LKG, there is a particular goal that is there, and UKG there is a particular goal that is there. First standard there is a particular goal that is there, and the child is able to see that particular goal and able to aspire for and to struggle for attaining that goal. So in the same way, we have our ultimate goal as Krishna Prem, but what is our immediate goal? So immediate goal also something should be there. So one thing can be there that am I engaging my mind and senses completely in the service of the Lord? Am I able to am I able to hear the holy name clearly and legibly? So these are all some goals, like this is all entry level goals. We can have some entry level goals and work hard to attain that. And when we have that same anxiety, same this one, and we put in this entry level goals, it's very important. Actually, in Sikshashtakam also yesterday we were discussing that Durdaiva Mihajani Nanuragha. So like it is an offense that is actually not allowing me to get attracted to the holy name. So entry level goal is that how can I be offenseless in my in my execution of Krishna consciousness? How can I get a little bit of taste in the process of chanting the names of the Lord? So if we can actually have this thing, so this is from, we have to take it from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the way in which the process actually goes forward. So once, like in this shloka, if we see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very nicely describes, the Lord is so great and there is no time and place, there is no rules and regulations like curtailing or limiting the sadhaka's practice, like now I am Muchi, like I cannot practice. No, even in Muchi state we can take the names of the Lord, we can progress. So there is no impediments in that way. but only thing is, no, I am offensive, no, because of which I am not able to access the taste of the holy name. So this is like in the Nama Shri Bhakti, it was very nicely described that this Durdaivam is nothing but like Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains as the offenses, or like few other things are there, few other aspects are there, exposure to the material nature and stuff like that. So it is all something that I can work on. It is all something that I can attempt upon. No, Krishna has not given an impractical practice, and our acharyas have not documented an impractical practice. It is possible that we can progress in this direction. So are we doing this? It's a very important question that we have to keep asking ourselves. And again, this very important point. If we rigidly follow the principles of meditation on Krishna, there is no doubt that in our next life we will be transferred to Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. So as Vidhan Gaurangpu was telling in that session, that theism means it's always the next life. So we do have practice in this life, and we don't expect the goal in this life. We expect the goal at the time of quitting the body, at the time of transferal. So that is when we expect our goal, and that is theism. That's the way like Krishna consciousness works. And if we see in the life of Narad Muni, he had achieved heights of spiritual realizations. And when he quit his body, at that point in time, he immediately got a celestial body, which is a body fit for the residents of the spiritual world, and he got the opportunity to go around in all the planetary systems, like both in the material and in the spiritual. So he got the opportunity to go, like means such kind of a spiritual body he could able to get. So this is how like he was in that plane already, but in the current body, like he was not able to experience all that all that is available in that divine body. So but at the point of quitting the body, like all his advancement borne its fruit in the form of like his the next existence, like as born as the Narada, right? So in that way, like we see that when we make our progress, when we make our practice, when we solidly practice our process of chanting, that we hear the names of the Lord clearly, and that is our chanting time, and rest of the time, like we put our 100% in our service, and service done in a straightforward way, not in a kind of employing cheating or employing unethical practices and things like that. So then that becomes also an impediment in the bhajan. So anything that we do, if we do it for Krishna's pleasure and do it as Krishna has directed, so then it becomes a source of nourishment. Even the service becomes a source of nourishment, and even any activity that we do. So we should understand throughout the day we are worshipping Krishna. And worshipping Krishna means few very important parameters are very essential. So one is that like we have to do it for the pleasure of Krishna, and another thing is we have to do that activity as Krishna has directed, and not practicing any this deviant ways and stuff like that. Just for example, like now I do this account service. So like in the account service there is we can pass many adjustment entries and stuff like that. So like we have not captured the details properly. So abhi details nahi pata hai, like we'll pass some adjustment entry. So this is not a very good way of doing it. And more I do this kind of practice, more it is not a proper way of doing. So then more it affects the bhajan actually. More it affects the practice of this one. So and when we are doing some kind of service in the sense of dealing with some other people, dealing with materialistic people, we have to get some work done. तो like उसको कुछ घुमा फिरा के like कुछ कर देंगे, so like cheating वीटिंग करके like कुछ ज़्यादा फायदा उठा लेंगे. So then that process we have used a crooked process over there. So then it becomes a problem in our this one. So we should see, that is why Prabhupada says that that utsaha nishchaya dhairyat tatat karma pravartanat sangatyago sato vritti. Dealing should be straightforward. This is also very important. So all the activities that we do, if we do it in a way that is been recommended, and that is like the way it has to be done. And our morning time for meditation on the sound vibration, and then Bhagavatam, again absorbing ourselves in the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the services like using our body and senses in the service of the Lord for the pleasure of the Lord as directed by Guru and Krishna in the parampara. And like in this way, like when we do that, so then it becomes solid, and then it starts giving appropriate results. No, otherwise what happens, like people come up with wrong conclusions saying that Prabhuji, like no ज़्यादा service करेंगे ना, like no ये it is not very good, like हम लोग जप करना चाहिए, भागवत पढ़ना चाहिए, so like no इसमें ज़्यादा nourishment मिलता है. Why the service doesn't give nourishment? Oh, like no थोड़ा बहुत crooked ways use कर रहे हैं उसमें. हाँ, थोड़ा बहुत like it is not completely engaging the senses properly in the service of the Lord, or it is not done for the pleasure of the Lord, and we are trying to exploit this one. Some things, somewhere it is a problem. Otherwise, how will the service not nourish a living entity? No, so service is something very. It's an activity that is for meant to serve the Lord. So then it should nourish us actually. No, how it is not nourishing? Because sometimes people say, Prabhuji ये service करके तो मैं burnout हो गया. No, so इसका मतलब क्या है? Like we have not done that service in a proper way. No. Like either some of the parameters that are missing actually. So then only the service actually results in burnout. So if we do the service in the proper attitude, with the proper procedures and things like that, so then the service should give us nourishment. No, if the service is not giving us nourishment, if our chanting session is not giving us nourishment, if our reading of Bhagavatam is not giving us nourishment, so the problem is that like these entities are pure, and it is like tested and proven that so many people have done that and got amazing nourishment. It is only the problem is there with me that I have to set right certain things, and I'll be able to access the nourishment that is there in these things. So in this way, like we have to practice this principle of meditation on Krishna properly. So then we will be able to make tangible progress in Krishna consciousness. So with this I pause here. Any discussions or questions, comments can take.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So thank you very much. That was a nice class and very relevant for all the brahmacharis here. Regarding the external etiquettes that you spoke, that's very, very relevant. And I myself have experienced some places. So this was a house visit. I had gone to someone's place. So I guess I was sitting like this on the sofa. And then I was in a jolly mood, I was laughing or whatever. Then during the book distribution, so that small daughter was there. So she was enacting. So mother was asking, "Oh, she always enacts your laughing in a day at least 10 times." Then I said, "Show how I laugh." Then she started laughing with holding the leg. I was like, "No, I never laughed like this." Then I realized that how people observe, especially preachers, and especially if we are in a different color cloth. So even like for example, when we are talking to newcomers and say we are coughing and not holding the hand in front of the mouth. So it actually from the expression we can make out that it's like these people don't know even this much of etiquette what they will teach. So us mood mein, and even when we wear the dress of a sadhu, and as you rightly mentioned, if we have the stylish gestures that we do, or stylish way of walking or whatever, so people will feel what sort of sadhu the person is. So I think after coming to ashram, I think more responsibilities now. We have to be very, very careful in how we talk to people, how we deal with them. But one thing is there, initially people are impressed. This is what I observed. Initially people are impressed. Arey, Prabhuji is like kitna stylish hai, and Prabhuji wears this watch and Apple wala watch, Apple ka phone. But with time, at least that's what I've seen in my own life, what I myself feel. But with time we feel a different thing altogether. Initially we are appreciating, but then we start hating after some time what it is. There's not a proper vritti of a sadhu. So this is a very important thing, very important point I felt for myself, that we should be very, very careful regarding how we are dealing and what our gestures are and how stylish we are, whatever. And I was speaking to Vraj Krishna Prabhu over that meeting which we had for the brahmachari training. So he was showing me sadhana chart. So it was there chanting, etc. Then I said, Bro, preaching, it is not there. So he said, Bro, that is not needed. Anyways, we will do. That was a very valid point. That so I was able to connect when you're talking about chanting. So when you're sitting and chanting and thinking about preaching plans, so anyways that's going to happen. Anyways we're going to exclusively sit, have meetings with people, think about it. But still, as you rightly said, the mind, it cheats, very nicely, and it takes us for a ride, and then we realize 2 hours are over. Full planning is done. So that is also there. this is I've experienced. Whatever I've planned during chanting Krishna, make sure that will never get executed. So, and also this when we talk about seva and seva mood, so the pastimes when we quote, so it's like there the seva mood is not considered. Like for example, the pastime that we quoted for Srila Prabhupada's thing, that you are counting the cement bags or whatever. So anyways, you are involved in service. So anyways, Lord will take care of you. But then when we read Bhagavatam or when we speak about it or deal or meditate on one's own service, so we talk a lot about the mood aspect. So how to understand? Because when we are already involved in service of the Lord, so even if the mood is not proper, so it should be taken care ideally. But then but then we are not satisfied when the mood is not proper. So how to understand this?
If you see the person, the cement bag, the person was very frustrated with the service, and then he wanted to externally imitate something like, I want to go for chanting throughout the day or something like that was this one, or I was not able to focus on the sadhana or something like that. So then there is something that Acharya is doing at that point in time, a very, very important and needed service that is there. So that needs to be performed. So at the time, we cannot bring about this Vala aspect so much. And also in the neophyte stage, we see that the mood aspect is very, very difficult to accommodate. So it is, we come in the form of external engagement only. And from the scriptures, we understand that the initial this one, I always tell this example of that Srinivasa wines, So that also will give us some kind of, sukruti. We'll go, that hasyam, helanam and stuffs like that. We see that. So that kind of chanting also, produces some effect, and Agyata Sukruti, where a person doesn't even know this is a sadhu and he gave a lift. It's a service done and he makes some progress. So now this kind of a service, if he keeps on doing, that is not sufficient enough to take him to the Krishna Prem. So we see that is going to help us to come to a certain level. And then unconscious services or service without the service mood and stuff like that, it'll take us to some another level of existence. But then we have to bring about the mood, we have to bring about this one. And either we bring about, so like my mentor used to tell that, you better cultivate this, otherwise Krishna will forcibly give. And when Krishna gives, it will be little painful. So like that, he used to tell that, when Krishna forces you to do some certain things, or when he gives a lesson, seeing that you are not voluntarily taking on to the lesson, so then Krishna thoda dhakka mar ke denge, us time pe thoda sa, but Krishna will make sure that we are going back to God. That much he'll make sure. Because how much we have the desire to go back to God, that is very weak actually. Sometimes we may talk about it, but we have very little this one. And Krishna is having barbar ke, he's in so much of anxiety. When this living entity will come back? Krishna is working overtime. He is sitting as Paramatma and giving some direction. He is sending his pure devotees, and they are coming. What is the reason for them to come and toil in the material world? He is doing all this circus just to rescue us, and he is more interested. And mood takes nahi aaya, ek dhakka marenge, sara mood aa jayega. So in this way, Krishna knows that what is that? It may take a little time, and it may take a little pain. When Krishna does it. So, but if we becomes proactive, and if we also aspire for it, and then No, what to aspire for, it is there in the scriptures. What Krishna likes, no, how he wants us to progress. No, Krishna has explained, and also the acharyas have demonstrated, and they have also put down in the scriptures. This is what it has to be done. No, like see, this is a very very powerful statement. If we rigidly follow the principles of meditation on Krishna, like it's a very powerful statement that Krishna, that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. So now, if we compare that pastime, that the devotee was telling that I'm not able to focus on sadhana, and Prabhupada is telling, "Arey, like no, you count the cement bags." And if that is the like underlying mood of Srila Prabhupada, then he would have written here, "Arey, don't worry about meditation and things like, just be engaged in service, Krishna will take you back to Godhead." Why Prabhupada has to make such a strong statement here that no, if you rigidly follow the principles of meditation on Krishna. So that means this is the underlying thing. This is the point that we have to come up to. And if a neophyte is talking about like no, I want to have intense meditation, arey chup, like no, seva karo अच्छे से, you know, पहले like no, सब body and senses को engage करो, बाद में देखेंगे like no, meditation के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, no, अभी आया, you know. So like that is, no, Acharya could have dealt with that particular this one incident in that kind of way. No, he would have seen that this guy is not fit for meditation. If he goes for meditation, he'll sleep. And no, better you count the cement bags, right? But what he wants, he has vocally, and he has, no, if he has just spoken in conversation, that's of some value. But he's penned down in the book, and he's penned down in multiple times and in a consistent way. No, that means it makes more, it is like, it makes more sense, it makes more value, weightage, no, of this. So this is the goal. And as we move further in the practice, no, we have to come to this point. No, we have to come to this point sooner or later. The later could be like many lifetimes later also, and sooner could be like, you know, as much as we can, you know, aspire and desire for this particular thing. So the enemy is that, you know, citing such pastimes and then say like, no, I'm fine. No, that's the enemy. That's the thing. That's the way like the material nature actually, you know, conquers us, saying that don't worry, like no, nothing, kuch bigda nahi, no, आराम से जाएंगे, you know. And like some substandard devotional service, you see like the Acharya told like just count cement bags, and no, that is sufficient. No, Acharya was told this also, like which to take, no. Right. So it is like very important thing that like we should not justify our position. No, like somebody may encourage us, no, we being there in the first standard. But if we are satisfied with that, we'll be in first standard only, you know. So we should not take all encouragement as absolute. No, we should take that my ultimate this one is I have to reach the goal. No, so वो वाला चीज रखना चाहिए. And like one of the things that I always mention is that like no, unknowing devotional service and knowing devotional service, and knowing devotional service with some kind of seriousness and things like that, and or maybe like not so much attachment to the goal and stuffs like that, but some seriousness is there. And then, you know, doing devotional service with, you know, attachment to the goal, and doing devotional service with lot of, you know, what is that, anxiety to attain the goal. So that becomes the you know, progression actually. You know? So like more we take anxiety to attain the goal, more we fix our goal, you know, very clearly. So then we will not be deviated, you know, with any, you know, this ones that actually come. So this is something that see, devotee's job is amani namanadena. So other people will glorify us, and if we take it very seriously, so it is not very good. And we have to criticize ourselves. We have only one person to criticize ourselves. No, actually two people, our authorities and ourselves. And sometimes the authorities fear to criticize us. So at least like we should criticize us nicely, you know. So if that is also gone, then it is like very difficult. You know, then there is no scope for progress. You know. We should never give any credit or glory to ourselves. Then it becomes no problem. You know? So, like by the culture, like everybody gives credit. You know, sometimes devotee feels बाकी और नहीं दे रहे तो like मैं खुद को दे रहा था. So, but at least like no, this is genuine criticism should be there, you know, about ourselves.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the class. The idea that we should always think about Krishna, that will solve many problems. Otherwise, that fetch logic is It reminded me of the incident where the devotee was, one of the practicing devotees was submerged in water, and then he ended up thinking of some soap advertisement at the time of his death. So that means that the mind is full of kachra, and somehow or the other we have to make this practice, that in all circumstances we should train our mind to think of Krishna. Another example related to this only, which I heard in one of the lectures, is like at the time of death, the whole life will flash past by in front of you, and at some moment it will stop where you have had the most intense attachment or intense experience. So the same logic works here also, that we don't know where the reel will stop. But if all the reel is filled with Krishna, then wherever it stops, it doesn't matter. So that's why Prabhupada says that always think of Krishna, never forget Krishna. At least we should rigidly try to do that. It's not in our hands, but we should try. This talking to the mind, it works for me also. Uh, uh, there are two ways to control the mind. One is through neglect, and one is through talking to the mind. That what kind of a devotee are you? You have been thinking from last 2 weeks that by remaining distracted in japa you'll get happiness, but you can see that you are not becoming happy, and even I'm not becoming happy, and both of us are in loss. Why can't we cooperate with each other? So this kind of talks, they help actually, especially books like Vaishnava K and Manah Shiksha. They help us to teach us that the mind. They help us to teach the mind that you are an idiot. You want to be happy, you don't know how to be happy. So take the process. It is here. Once if you will do this, both of us will be happy. So in this way, we should talk to the mind. Krishna is all powerful, and his Maya is also all powerful, and she makes us complacent at every step by presenting that Sankalpa Vikalpa approach. In 2 days only she will tell you have become a pure devotee, so you can relax now. And like you were mentioning, the mind will give a proposal that you are waking up early, having bath and doing so much tapasya. Why don't you relax, take a break for 15 days, don't get into the Mangalarti and all that. So we should not listen to the mind. These are the chatters of the mind. We should be rigidly fixed up on the process of that Krishna consciousness. Mind will say this is very impractical. What is this? Nobody does this. You are the only person who is doing this. Somebody was getting a statement that your teachers are killing you. But that is not the case. We have to have full faith that Krishna and the Acharyas have not given us any impractical process. It is fully practical. It is for the best of our well-being. And actually they are our real well-wishers. And any activity which is done for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna according to Krishna's desire, it gives us a lot of nourishment. This is very important. We cannot remain for a long time in Krishna consciousness without getting the nourishment. So that nourishment actually comes from the pleasure of Krishna. When we try to please Krishna, and when Krishna becomes pleased with us, then because he is pleased, so we feel the nourishment. And we have various people around us with whom we have many tangible relationships, like Prabhupada, the spiritual master, the devotees. So we can actually relate to them and understand what they want, and when we try to please them, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado, then Krishna also gets pleased. And in that way it's not very difficult to derive the nourishment. Without it, Krishna consciousness is a very dry process otherwise. If we don't feel the nourishment, then people will say that I've chanted for 20 years, nothing has happened, and things like that. So this has to be done, and one of the easiest ways to get the nourishment, at least it works for me, is that whenever I do any service, I try to understand, okay, who has instructed me to do this, and how should I do this, and report about this, so that they will become happy. I try to connect it with some instruction. I try to connect it with what I heard in the lectures from Prabhupada and spiritual master, that yes, I'm doing this seva, this pleases them, so let me do it in the best possible way, and then offer the results to them. So this helps a lot, nourishment. Without this, it's very difficult to continue. So Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So few points are very nice for me. So having this supreme goal is there, but having some short-term goals, especially now, what am I completely engaged in the service of the Lord? Am I thinking of the Lord? Am I doing the service in a proper mood or not? So these are the few aspects which I try to implement and meditate upon. And the next point that acharyas what they have given is a practical one. Whatever the songs they have written, Vaishnava songs, everything they are experiencing and they're showing us, yes, it is also possible for you. By the mercy of the Lord, it is there. And any activity is we are doing, so just that should be for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga according to the Acharya given how to do it. If we're doing whether it is pleasing or not, this has to be kept in the mind. So various services I'm doing, but many of them are not pleasing to the devotees. So I have to think about it. Am I doing properly or not? Whether it is pleasing or not. So these are the few points I would like to meditate and practice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Ji, thank you so much for your talk. Few points that I've noted. You spoke about the importance of meditating on Krishna at all times, and bring up that argument that when will I have exclusive time for the Lord. This is a very nice statement where you said that life is a game of different moments, and that if we are satisfied at any particular moment, we lose the game. And life keeps giving us a lot of glorifications and to make us believe that we are good and that we deserve this enjoyment. This at the start you mentioned that depending on the experiences of the previous life, you you get glimpses of the previous life in the form of dreams and desires. But the real enjoyment is only when Krishna is there in the picture. So you spoke of the importance of setting immediate goals. Some of them were the hearing the sound vibrations of the Lord. So exclusive time for focusing on the sound vibrations of the holy name of the Lord is very important. Then service to the Lord favorably. We must always be engaged sincerely in the service of the Lord. You spoke of the importance of being straightforward in our approach. No malpractices and no cheating in the process. Service, because if we do that in the right way, then this service is a source of nourishment for us. And you also spoke about service, hearing the sound vibration and listening to the glories of the Lord is another immediate goal. So through this, what is important is we must understand that this is all for the pleasure of the Lord. And we have to do according to what He has directed us, and our dealings must always be straightforward. So the goal must be clearly set that Krishna Prema must be attained at the end of all of this, and that is when we win that game of life. Thank you so much, Hari. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। अब जैसे बताया कि एक बिजनेसमैन अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट में सक्सेस हो रहा है तो वो उसको सक्सेस नहीं मानता, क्योंकि उसका गोल हाई रहता है। तो ऐसे ही कोई भक्त को हमेशा ऐसे सोचना चाहिए, कुछ भी अगर टेस्ट मिल रहा है तो नहीं, इतना नहीं, और चाहिए, तो ऐसे रहना चाहिए। और एक होता है कि किसी की चैंटिंग में माइंड कैसा भटकता रहता है, और हर मतलब अच्छा चीज़ थॉट में आता है तो फिर भी वो उसको साइड करके क्या बोल रहे हैं उसको सुनना चाहिए। लेकिन हर टाइम में ऐसा ही होता है माइंड का, हाँ ये सेवा करना है, ऐसा करना है, तो हमेशा वही थॉट आ जाता है। तो उसको कैसे ये करना है।
इसके लिए तो हम 2-3 आर्ग्यूमेंट्स हम लोग ने ये किया था ना, लाइक माइंड के साथ हम लोग ये कर सकते हैं, या भगवान से हम लोग प्रार्थना कर सकते हैं कि देखिए लाइक ऐसा मेरा माइंड हर दिन चीटिंग कर रहा है, तो कब मिलेगा मुझे वो टाइम जो मैं अच्छे से फोकस कर पाऊँगा। ऐसा करके हम प्रार्थना करना चाहिए और भगवान से मांगना चाहिए, है ना। और वो इच्छा रखना चाहिए कि लाइक मैं अच्छे से सुनना चाहिए, है ना। तो इच्छा रखने में ही लाइक काफ़ी कुछ होगा। एंड उसके ऊपर भगवान का कृपा मांगने में लाइक बहुत ये होगा। और ये इच्छा स्ट्रांग रहेगा, पूरा दिन इसको याद करना चाहिए हम लोग, पूरा दिन इसको ये करना चाहिए कि लाइक मैं अच्छे से सुनना चाहिए वो मेरा गोल है। और जब भी कुछ भी लाइक भगवान का नाम ये हो रहा है तो लाइक फोकस देना चाहिए हम लोग, है ना। तो कीर्तन में भी हम लोग भाग ले रहे हैं तो उस टाइम पे भी फोकस देना चाहिए कि लाइक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि जो कीर्तन जा रहा है लाइक उसको फोकस करना चाहिए और प्रयास करना चाहिए। नहीं हो रहा है तो लाइक तुरंत भगवान से प्रार्थना करना चाहिए कि ये मुझे चाहिए, लाइक नहीं मिल पा रहा है तो मैं कितना कुछ पाप किया होगा पता नहीं, मुझे ऐसा लाइक ऐसा महसूस हो रहा है कि लाइक नाम मैं ठीक से सुन नहीं पा रहा हूँ। तो वैसा करके हम लोग बार बार प्रार्थना करना चाहिए, है ना। सो ये तो श्योर है कि लाइक हम लोग नाम को ठीक से सुन नहीं पा रहे, मतलब कुछ ना कुछ तो हमारा कमी है एक्चुअली, है ना। तो उसके लिए बट भगवान हमको बचा सकता है, तो वो चीज़ बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। तो मेरा पास बहुत कुछ कमी है और भगवान मुझे बचा सकता है, ये दोनों बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। और मुझे ये गोल चाहिए ही चाहिए, ये लाइक अच्छा ध्यानपूर्वक जब मुझे चाहिए वो वाला चीज़, ये सब साथ में हम लोग पूरा दिन ये करना चाहिए, मेडिटेट करना चाहिए। सारा सेवा, अलग अलग सेवा जब कर रहे हैं तो पीछे यही होना चाहिए, लाइक ये सेवा में भगवान अगर प्रसन्न होंगे तो मुझे अच्छा सुनने का एक मौका देना चाहिए भगवान ने, लाइक दैट। तो वैसा करके सोच सोच के जब करते हैं तो भगवान भी देखते हैं कि लाइक इसको इतना इच्छा है, इतना इसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं, तो उसके बाद दिलाते हैं आपको। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So this point was very good that like when we go to some meeting, also a professional meeting or somewhere, there is a agenda for the meeting, there are a few points. If we bring a similar point also, that is put forward for the next meeting. So similarly, like when we are chanting, so that is exclusive time for chanting. We shouldn't like let some other services or whatever come in the mind. We should exclusively focus on that time for chanting only. And we have like other time for other services. And this also, like we should never be satisfied. We should always have anxiety that there is something higher to achieve. Whatever we have achieved, we should try for something higher all the time. We should have a goal, intermediate goals. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I like the point you told first. Internals of a person will affect externally, and externals of a person in turn affect the internally. That point I like very much, Prabhuji. And you were telling wherever we are, like whatever dealings we have with outside people also, we should be very proper like a devotee. And whatever devotee tells, like devotee is not devotee in here only, devotee is everywhere devotee. He should be dealing in according to the principles, like should not be duplicitous, and do not do any adjustments or cheating kind of thing. Like yesterday in WhatsApp also, one person sent this Bhakti Vinod Thakur this quote, probably like in Sajjana Toshan it was there, like bad association, duplicity and dependent on godless people are created due to anarthas. This hinders one's progress on the path of devotional service. So this your whatever you told in the class, this same relevant thing I was contemplating. Like, and one more question, Prabhuji, like you told that every moment in our life we should not be satisfied. Not satisfied is in only attaining our devotional service, whatever in spiritual life, Prabhuji. Like whatever material needs we got, that we should be satisfied, and only in spiritual things we should not be satisfied and be anxious of attaining Krishna. Okay, Prabhuji. And this one in the purport last it was given that uh, like the unfulfilled yogi who is not perfected, unsuccessful yogi, in Krishna in Bhagavad Gita tells that in somewhere also that whoever is unsuccessful in this path of devotional service, he will get next life in a brahmana or like that. It is mentioned here, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of pious living entities, he is born into a family of righteous people or family of aristocracy. Means after that he will be promoted to the different planets and he will be given enjoyment, Prabhuji. After that again he get chance for this. I am confused with this. Like
because of whatever he did, that process will be credited for that, and again he'll be credited here. Then okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
मेरे पास एक क्वेश्चन है प्रभु, जैसे अभी आपने कहा कि मतलब कैसे हम मटेरियल पर्सन के साथ मतलब इंटरेक्ट करें, क्योंकि जब हम ज़्यादा उसमें जाते हैं तो हम में भी वो डुअलिटी आ जाती है, वो चीज़ ना वो आती है। पर जैसे बाहर तो सबके साथ ही ऐसा चीटिंग का वो आ जाता है कि हाँ अब तो मतलब 90% उनके साथ कर रहे हैं तो इधर भी कर ही लेते हैं, क्या दिक्कत है, ऐसा करके आता है। तो उसको कैसे मतलब उसको कैसे लेस करूँ मैं, उसको घटाऊँ कैसे प्रभु उस चीज़ को? वो माइंड में आता है, माइंड क्योंकि हमेशा वहीं चलता रहता है ना, तो मतलब हमेशा लगता है कि कर लेते हैं कर लेते हैं कर लेते हैं, पर जब यहाँ आते हैं जब चैंटिंग हो जाती है तो लगता है नहीं यार गलत है, वो छोड़ो, तो ऐसा करके तो वहाँ रहता हूँ तो ऐसा लगता है कि जैसा चल रहा है चलने दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। तो माइंड हमेशा चीट करता है, तो कैसे क्या करें?
हम प्रसाद के टाइम पे डिस्कस करेंगे, ठीक है। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।